But anyways, I wanted to jump into some contemporary issues, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So, we have the white supremacists. We know that. And we know that we have this case with our good young brother named Karmelo Anthony, who, by the way, I believe he just got a bond, and he's now able to go home and be under house arrest. Thankfully, he got that. But what is it about the white supremacists' inability to be objective, reasonable, fair, or just when it comes to black pain and suffering? They totally have ignored all of the different layers to this case with Brother Karmelo Anthony. But when the Zimmermans and the other cases that are very popular nationally, how come they weren't objective and fair in those cases? But with us, when this young brother got into that situation with that other young man, why are they so unable to be objective and fair?
I would simply say, when have they ever been?
Right.
That is not their culture. That is not who they are. That is not how they've taken over the world. Okay? They are very much a narcissistic, savage, power-hungry group of people. And for them, there is no moral code. They are very much about Machiavellian ethics, which is to have no ethics. The ends always justify the means. So I don't know why black people are surprised that when our children are killed in unjustifiable murders, we're supposed to accept the exoneration of the perpetrator. But when, our child is in a position where he allegedly may have to inadvertently take the life of another person in self-defense, he's already crucified and convicted in the court of public opinion before he's ever seen a day inside of court. Why? Because he's black and the victim is white. If this was the exact opposite in situation, where the perpetrator was black and the victim, where the victim was black, where the victim was black and the perpetrator was white, this wouldn't even have made television. This would not even be in conversation right now. Because in America, black life has been so devalued to the point that when it is lost, no one really responds. Now, yes, we will respond with the protest marches and that kind of a thing, but we don't do anything after that, and that's the criticism against black folks. But white people, they would have never even paid this any mind had the victim, not been white. And people are making so much noise over the fact that the young brother had a knife. Well, if I lived in Texas and I was 16, 17 years old, I would probably walk around with a knife as well.
Damn right.
Texas is one of the most violent states in America.
Facts.
It's a state where you can open carry without a license. Okay, it is a state that aggressively defends the right of its citizens to always be prepared for combat.
Yep.
So if you don't have a problem with people walking around with guns unregistered, why is it a problem for this young child to have had a knife? You see, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
At all.
They moved that goalpost so much.
Absolutely. It's a shame. I want to see how this plays out. I want to see what attorneys actually come to the defense of this young man. I hope the same nationally recognized attorneys that come out when we are murdered by police to make that money, that death money, I would hope they come out to defend this young man, because I was part of a case last year. I don't know if you know about this. Well, I wasn't
down in Florida?
Part of the case. Yes, but I followed it closely, the case of Brendan Depper.
Yep, I know about that.
Similar situation, but drastically different outcome. In the Brendan Depper situation, he attacked a teacher's aide for taking a video game from him that his IEP specifically stated to never take from him. So she broke the law in violating the IEP, but he was the one who got convicted of the crime.
Right.
You see, but again, to my point, none of these nationally recognized black attorneys came to the attention of this black boy. And I'll tell you why they don't come to the attention of black boys accused of crimes against white people. It's because it's not sexy. It is taboo. If you want to be famous and comfortable in America as a black person, you don't ever stand in defense of a black person who has ever attacked or assaulted a white person, even if it was in justifiable self-defense. And, unfortunately, we have a lot of cowards in our community. And I don't even know if Al Sharpton has gotten involved in this yet or not. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't, because, again, it's not your rank and file police assassination of an unarmed black person, which is a pretty cut and dry situation, and everybody knows they're going to get paid. This is not that situation. This is a situation where you actually have to defend and stand up for this brother. From what I understand, he's never been arrested, never been to jail, no criminal record. I think he was almost a 4.0 student, allegedly. I heard that. Good kid. But, hey, he was up against two brothers, twins. And, again, I don't take lightly the loss of life. I'm sorry that he lost his life. I'm sorry, to the family that they lost a member. But at the same time, had the table been turned and he had taken the life of that young brother, I doubt very seriously if they would have gave a damn at all. So I'm just saying all that to say that I'm standing with my brother until I see that what he did was done out of an unprovoked act of bigotry against that white kid. I believe that he feared for his life. From what I understand, the white kid was much bigger, much stronger. And
220, 6 feet.
Say that again.
220 pounds, over 6 feet.
Oh, he would have destroyed that little black boy. He would have destroyed that little black boy. And I don't know if Florida has a stand your ground law or not, but even if they don't, they definitely have self-defense laws. Otherwise, they wouldn't be telling everybody to buy guns. So I believe that there's laws on the books there, that clearly will defend and protect that young man, and what he did to protect his life if he gets the best attorney. It all comes down to how hard you fight in court. It all comes down to how hard you fight in court. It comes down to the judge that you get. It's going to come down to where this case is tried. He's been getting death threats. The family has been getting death threats. And I believe that he will not get an opportunity to receive a fair trial if this case is tried in the same county where the murder took place. I think that county is already biased. The fact that the family's getting death threats, the fact that they can't go outside alone, I think that makes it crystal clear that this case cannot be tried in that county. Even if they move it, it becomes a question of exactly where you're going to try the case. It almost harkens me back to the O.J. Simpson case where they had to try that in another county, because of how biased they felt people would be in L.A. County or whatever the murder took place. So we're almost dealing with O.J. again, only this time the victim is a man, not a woman. This is not a romance. And the black male who's accused of the crime, he's not a multi-million-dollar celebrity athlete.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for all of that. And sending my blessings and prayers to that young brother and his family, because we know what happened. Brothers and sisters, we know what happened. This is a typical case of bullyism. And when you're white, you right. When you black, get back. You know how it goes. But anyway, so I wanted to touch on something in education today. I've been thinking about this leading up to today's conversation. What do you think about AI technology as it relates to education or in general? Because we have new things called ChatGPT, Claude, all of these new applications that is allowing folks to cheat intellectualism. They are bypassing thinking, critical thinking. How detrimental is that for us as a black community?
From a imperialist perspective, from a white supremacy domination perspective, from a capitalist perspective, artificial intelligence, along with the social media revolution, along with the internet revolution, along with the video game revolution, is a dream come true for them. Remember, what is the purpose of church and public school? To teach the people how not to think. That is the goal of education and religion. So now we are entering into a sphere now where the internet, I want to say this, IT stands for information technology. So I'm going to lump in AI, video gaming, social media. I'm going to lump all that into information technology. We are at a point now in the history of this planet where information technology may surpass church as the number one influence on the minds of everybody. I do not know if religion is strong enough to withstand the indoctrinating effect, to withstand the intoxicating effect of artificial intelligence, social media, video gaming, in the internet world. I think that information technology might have replaced Jesus. It might have.
Wow.
We already know the church hasn't had the children for at least the past 30 years, but they've been lost the youth.
Yep.
That's nothing new. But now they might even take the adults because, the elders are getting older. And so that means that next generation, the people who are 60 years now, they didn't have a good 10, 20 years of information technology. I just don't think religion will ever have the control it ever used to be. But that's not necessarily good, although I don't like the control religion had. But I really don't like the control that information technology has, if you can follow what I'm saying.
Yep.
Because religion is boring, but you do it because you don't want to be on the other side of God as you're taught, right? But it's boring. So you really got to hold people's attention in religion. That's why the pastor's oratorical skill is so effective. In information technology, you're not bored. You love it. You are addicted to it.
Oh, yeah.
I just read something today. It said that people who scroll through their phones 6 hours a day are some of the most, and I may be misquoting slightly, but to the point that it was making, it basically said people who scroll through their phones on average of 4 to 6 hours a day, they are normally some of the lowest achieving people in the world.
I believe that.
And I'm saying most people scroll through their phones damn near 6 hours a day. And I'm bringing it up to say this. If I believe in globalism, if I believe in the Illuminati, if I am a member of the New World Order, I love this. Because after all, who's giving us the information technology? It's the globalists.
Yep.
Think about it. Why did the Rockefellers not want economic science taught in the public schools? Because they said if we teach the children how to make money, they'll take money from us. We have to keep the children dumbed down. That's why you don't have financial science in public school. You don't even have it in rich, white, private schools. You don't even get financial science. The Rockefellers wouldn't let it happen because the only way they could protect their monopoly on the financial systems of the world was to make sure public school children were not taught those sciences. So now you have a system where you say instead of not teaching something in school, just make sure everybody is dumbed down by their dependency on information technology. And you have a whole country full of electronic zombies, a whole continent full of electronic zombies, a whole world full of electronic zombies. I mean, think about it now. You are at a point now where if you are a globalist and you want to take over this world, one military, one bank, one religion, one school system, you want to absolutely control this world and then depopulate the world on the basis of color, with blacks being the first to go. Artificial intelligence is a dream for the globalists in the eugenicists. Because all you got to do is give every black kid a cell phone, give every black person a cell phone, and you'll never have to worry about them standing up against you again.
Wow.
Information technology has replaced religion as the greatest time waster and distractor for black America.
Man. You know what? I gotta drop a bomb on that, Dr. Umar, if you don't mind. Because, I agree. I share the same sentiments as well, because I'll give you a quick example. I work in education myself and with young college students. And when we had a trivia for Black History Month, it was an embarrassment that they didn't know who our basic historical figures are. The traditional ones, the Martin Luther Kings, the Malcolm X's, the Rosa Parks, the regular folks that we were taught growing up, and many of them did not know who they were. It was astonishing. It was slightly embarrassing, and at the least shocking. So the phone, to your point, has stolen them away from investigating, being critical, going outside, just interacting with the environment. So shout out to the folks. The only kids I see really interacting with the environment are those who play sports or, traditional sports, basketball, football, baseball, things like that. But in terms of actually attempting to just learn, just go in a corner and get it in, I rarely see that. But shout out to the kids that do. Not saying that all of them do, but this AI technology has definitely had an impact on us. And that's a great segue to the fact that you made, to the point that you made, that it could be stronger than religion. So, Dr.
So it definitely is for the children, and it's already been for the children. I mean, the church lost the youth, at least 20 years ago. The church ain't had the youth. The church hasn't had the youth this century. Let's just put it like that. The church has not had the youth since the year 2000.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking under 30, right? Now, there's still youth who go to church, but the church does not influence young people the way it used to, But they still had the adults, and now with AI, they may not even have the adults anymore, But again, it's not a blessing for us because we need thinkers. We don't need robots. And artificial intelligence is basically entertaining our people into a psychological death. You got to remember now, from a military science perspective, Sun Tzu, the art of war. Sun Tzu said it is better to leave a nation intact and just take it over as opposed to going to war against it and having to kill everyone. See that?
Yeah.
So in other words, what can I do to destroy Black America? I don't want to use COINTELPRO. That's too messy. I tried AIDS. It didn't get the job done. I tried crack. It's working, but the Negroes are still here. I need something that will put their children to sleep for good. That I never have to worry about another Fred Hampton. I don't need another King, another Malcolm, another Douglas, another Garvey, another Ida B, another Harriet. I don't need a Fred Hampton, a George Jackson. I don't need an Prentice Bunchy Carter. I don't need a Carter G. Woodson, a Booker T. What can I do to psychologically eliminate the Black child? To turn the Black child into a psychologically lifeless being. That would be artificial intelligence.
Damn.
You think about this now. Think about it. Our kids were not reading before AI.
Oh, man.
They were not. Look, half the Black boys in 4th grade right now in America cannot read on a 4th grade level. Right now. Before AI. Half the Black boys in the 8th grade could not do math on grade level. Before AI. You think you got a special education crisis now? You ain't seen nothing. And given the fact that most of our kids are raised, 70% of them, in single-parented, female-led homes, you think that Black mother is going to be able to keep all 2 and 3 of her kids off that cell phone long enough to do their homework? And then they talking about why we ain't got no Black boys, Black men are dropping out of college. They say there's far less Black men in college now than there was a generation ago. Well, it really ain't going to be none now. And another big problem with this thing, with this information technology, is everybody think they can get rich through YouTube. That's another problem.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
That's another. Everybody's a struggle streamer now. Everybody's a struggle streamer because they all think that they're going to be the one to get rich off of YouTube, and it's not going to happen. Our kids thinking they're going to get rich off of YouTube is no different than thinking you're going to become the next multi-million-dollar athlete in the NFL or the NBA. It's another pipe dream. To make a long story short, information technology is psychological warfare against the Black community, and it is probably going to turn all of our children into psychological casualties in the war against white supremacy.
Wow, man. And I saw, to your point about young brothers in college, I saw a stat that said today at our HBCUs, only 26% of the population collectively at HBCUs are Black men. And I said, whoa, how did that happen? If it is true. So, to your point, man, this is scary. I'm so glad you...
But here's the thing, too, my brother.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not automatically alarmed by it because the college degree isn't really providing Black men with much opportunity.
You right?
Now, if they're going into real estate, if they're going into entrepreneurship, if they're going into trade school.
Trades, yeah.
Because there's other avenues to wealth creation. So if they're going into these other avenues, I'm okay. The question is, what that research is not telling us is what are they doing instead of going to college.
In spite of that. Yep. I agree. So that's some research I need to do. How many of our young black men are in the trades or other fields, trucking, things like that? So, Dr. Umar, we are almost close to an hour. I would like you to please tell us how can we contribute to your school, and if there's anything else you want to share as it relates to the donations. I know you got a lot of saboteurs out there, people who are trying to shut you down, and I can't imagine what you're
I
going
ain't worried
through, man.
about it. They can't stop it, man. See, people, I get asked this question all the time.
Yeah.
And people ask me, they say, how do you keep going?
Yeah.
Despite all the opposition that you get. They'll say, I'll get on the internet and I can scroll through pages of haters attacking you. And yet I'll see you at a sold-out college. I'll see you in Africa. I'll see you in Europe. I'll see you in South America. I'll see you in Australia. And by the way, I'm the only black scholar on the planet who's been invited to speak on every continent 3 times.
I saw that.
And I might be the only one who's ever done it in history, but definitely the only one alive. Now, what allows me to keep going is really, really simple, and I offer this as a small lesson to our brothers and sisters in resilience. And that is, if you know your purpose, you can put up with any opposition. That is to say, if you know why you are here, you can put up with any what that will come your way. I've been able to sustain myself through all the obstacles because I know that I'm doing the work that my ancestors sent me here to do. That and only that is what sustains me. If I had questions about whether I should be trying to open that school, if I had questions as to whether or not I need to be spending my life traveling the world motivating our people to organize, if I had questions about whether or not I was ever supposed to become a psychologist and really help our parents understand and take back their power in the education and mental health system, if I had questions, I may have given this up a long time ago. If I did this for stardom, if I did this for approval, I might have given it up a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
I do this for one reason and one reason only, because it's the reason for which I was born. And that is what sustains me through the struggle. As far as the donations, our brothers and sisters can donate on PayPal only through PayPal. If you see any other financial exchange platform advertising SDMG, it's a scam. There's people out there using Cash Apps. We don't have the Cash App anymore. We don't have Zelle. We don't have Venmo. All we have is PayPal, and that is paypal.me/FDMG Academy. Again, paypal.me/FDMG Academy. If they want to mail a donation, payable to FDMG Academy, P.O. Box 9634. Again, FDMG Academy, P.O. Box 9634, Wilmington, Delaware 19809. They can always text message me if they need that information, 215-989-9858. A couple of upcoming engagements. As I mentioned earlier, the event in Connecticut is being postponed, and I will come back on the show to discuss that, once we have the new date. But I'll be in New Brunswick this Thursday, April the 17th, at Dootsy's Kitchen in New Brunswick. If anybody want to go to that New Brunswick event, it's 5 to 9 this Thursday. And that's 732-527-9390, 732-527-9390, and that's at Dootsy's Kitchen. And then I'll be in Columbus, Ohio on Sunday, May 25th, which is African Liberation Day, and I'll be speaking at the Ohio Black Expo on the riverfront in Columbus, Ohio. I'll be in Chicago Tuesday, June the 10th at 7 o'clock, Jacob Carruthers Center for Inner City Studies, 700 East Oakwood Boulevard. And in addition to those dates, I'll be at the Oxford Union in the United Kingdom, May the 29th. I know if you remember, Malcolm X went to the Oxford Union back in 1964, a few months before he was assassinated. Mm-hmm. He did his famous
Africa too? What?
Yes.
Okay.
No, an Oxford Union in England.
Okay.
Yeah, Malcolm X went there. That's one of the last public events that he was able to make prior to his execution. So I've been invited to the same forum.
Awesome.
I've been invited to the Oxford Union to debate as well. That's May 29th. I'll be in Ypsilanti, Michigan for a 2-day mental health conference for black men, June 6th and 7th. Leimert Park, California for Juneteenth. On June 22nd, I'll be speaking at a graduation in Brooklyn, June 27th. Ethiopian World Federation Conference in South Africa. That'll be July 13th to the 16th. I'll be in Nigeria for the Oshun Festival, July the 18th, Miami Gardens, Florida, July the 26th. I should be in Angola, Africa, July the 23rd, Nat Turner on August the 21st, and possibly the Association of Black Psychologists Conference in Daytona Beach, Florida on July the 30th.
Man, I don't know how you do it. I'm listening like, man. Hey, by the way, are you going to do your tour in Africa again? I had always wanted to do that. I've been in school for the last 6 years, but...
Yeah, I'm going to get it done. Once we get done with the school, I think once the school is operational and approved, I think we're going to go ahead and do another group trip to the continent.
That's what's up. Well, Dr. Umar, we did an hour tonight. I hope I didn't take too much of your time. We always appreciate you here in Hartford. You got a lot of fans here. Not fans, supporters, I should say. And I do hope that group can get you back to Connecticut. I was a part of the other group that got you here that time here in Hartford, the last group. I think you might remember. But you meet so many people, I'm sure you probably don't remember all the way. But I appreciate you always making your way up here to the Northeast, to our little boring state, Connecticut, because you enlighten us and you give us the empowerment that we need.
No problem, my brother. Anytime.
So will you be coming back next Monday, or you want to wait till they set up another date?
I'm going to wait until they set up the new date.
All right, good brother.
And then I'll keep you posted on that.
I appreciate you so much, man. Well, keep up the good work, brother. We'll keep donating. Dr. Umar Johnson, everybody. Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to share before you head out?
No, sir. All is well. Again, if anybody needs to reach me, 215-989-9858.
All right, good brother. Ashe, and peace and blessings on everything you got going on.
Blessings, brother. Yes, sir. All right, King.
All right. Dr. Umar Johnson, everybody.